you do if you're in a toxic relationship. Well, one psychiatrist joins us this Mental Health Awareness Month to discuss that. Is coming up.
Right, well, it's National Mental Health Awareness Month, and today we are talking about toxic relationships. I think all of us have either been in one or know someone who has been in one or is currently in one. So if that pertains to you, here to talk about those red flags is psychiatrist Timothy Jeider with Nevada Mental Health. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about the signs of a toxic relationship. They can be hard to miss if you're in one.
They can be. Generally speaking, relationships should be fun. They're going to take work from time to time, but if it's more fighting than fun, that's a big red flag that you might be in a toxic relationship.
Okay, that's a big red flag. What else?
I would say feeling controlled by your partner, right? You should still have a sense of personal autonomy and identity. And so if they're always micromanaging, telling you what to do, where to go, how to be, that controlling environment is another red flag that should kind of send up the warning signs.
Right, and also, I mean, your partner should like who you are. They shouldn't be trying to change who you are. Otherwise, what attracted them to you in the first place, right?
Yeah. It's about growth together, figuring out who you are and who your guys are going to be. So it should be fun.
Okay, what else? You have belittling listed on here.
So yeah, belittling. Some people get their joy from putting others down. So if your partner only seems happy when you're not succeeding, huge red flag. And so your victories should be their victories. And if that's not the case, again, another red flag.
Right. I can't even imagine how demeaning that would feel to have a partner who constantly wants you to fail. What about somebody who's always wanting to break up?
That's manipulation is another red flag, right? If do this or else, I'm going to if you don't. Those tactics are there to keep us isolated and to make you fearful of being alone. So if you're afraid of being alone in your relationship, obviously another red flag you need to be looking out for.
Okay, so what if somebody's watching and they notice one or more of these red flags? What should they do?
Get help and get out. A lot of these toxic relationships, the goal is to keep you isolated and feel alone. That's not the case. Friends, families, co-workers, anybody. There are tons of resources out there, personal and professional, but get out. It's not likely to get better.
Do you think that's easier said than done? I mean, how can you get out if you are so emotionally invested in this person, even if they're making you feel this way?
So there's a lot of reasons that make it difficult for certain people, and toxic relationships exploit those to try and keep you there. It starts with the first step. And so rather than looking at the huge, overwhelming, I have to change my entire life. Look at that first step. Who's this next person I can form a supportive relationship with, and then build on that so you have all the tools you gather over time rather than everything all at once.
Yeah. What about, and this can be tricky for friends or family who are witnessing a toxic relationship and their loved one may be stuck in this toxic relationship. How do you show support for your loved one in a way that can ease them out of it, but obviously you can't tell them what to do? Right.
You can't tell them what to do. They have to have their own reasons and motivations for doing it. But being a friend and being supportive, offering that ear, the shoulder to cry on, being supportive and letting them know that they have supports beyond their toxic relationship will hopefully eventually let them see through what's going on and then become motivated to make positive changes.
Is it better to just be a shoulder to cry on and an ear for them to vent to, or should you be giving your opinion on what they should do?
It's going to take judgment. Sometimes opinions can be helpful. I mean, if you can't have an honest conversation, another red flag about a toxic relationship, even if it's friendships.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, being a support, you have to be mindful of your own mental health, your own space, what you can and can't take on, and then make yourself available within those constraints, and trust your gut. If you're being supportive and helpful, it's going to be supportive and helpful.
Yeah.
If you're there just to poke, then it's not going to be helpful.
Yeah. Then you might be an aggressor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, there's so much to talk about. That's probably, you get paid to talk about this for lengths and lengths of time, but we only have a few minutes. So we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.